Thank you. See, when I get fired up and I get chaotic, so I cry.
This meeting is called in order. We have our invocation by Minister John Rafa from First Baptist Church of Alachua.
Pray with me. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this city. We thank you for this state, and we thank you for this nation that we get to live under, Lord. And we thank you for the freedoms that we have, and we thank you for our leaders and those who keep us safe day in and day out. Lord, and we pray over this specific city, Lord, that you would help guide our leaders in wisdom and discernment. And in wisdom, Lord, we pray that they would derive their wisdom from you, who is the source of wisdom. And Lord, we just pray over the city that everybody in this city would experience your grace and love that you have for them. And Lord, we pray that every decision that this leadership makes and that the people of Alachua make would aid in administering your will to this city. And Lord, we pray for amazing things to come forth through the city and through the meetings that we have and the discussions that we have, Lord. We do pray for those things. And Lord, we pray for our brothers and sisters in Christ in the city to be a light in this place, that people all over the world would even see this city, even in its size, as small as it might be, Lord, as a great city that loves you. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Now we will have the pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start this meeting, I would like, if you have cell phones, will you mute it, or you can cut it off. And if you need to make a call or answer a call, can you please step out of the chamber meeting room? And I also like to announce that one of our commissioners will not be here, Miss Shirley Brown. So, but other than that, let us have a great meeting. Now, I would like someone to motion to approve of the agenda.
I'll motion to approve the agenda, Mayor.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Now I would like to ask for the call for public comment on the motion on the floor. Is there any public comment on the motion? Not. Then we have a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So say we all. We'll move on to.
Mr. Mayor, I would say I move to approve reading of proposed ordinances and resolutions by title only.
Okay. Move to second. So now.
Mr. Mayor, I think we need a second on that.
I'll second, Jake.
Oh, I
Ms.
thought I
Fletcher.
heard you say.
It's okay.
It's been moved to second. And now we'll call for a voice. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so we all. We'll move on to special presentation. Item A.
Mr. Mayor, your manager requested that I present a little brief synopsis of Senate Bill 180 because it's going to affect you all as commissioners, and it'll affect our planning staff, our emergency management staff, our city manager. It has an effect, a wide-ranging effect for all of us that are in the city of Alachua. It goes into effect on July 1st, 2026, and I'll just summarize some of the provisions. I'm not going to get into the 48 pages of the bill, but I'll kind of summarize it for you. And really the basic gist of Senate Bill 180 is that it affects emergency management, particularly hurricanes, if you're affected by a hurricane. And really, the entire state of Florida, with Hurricane Debbie, Helene, and the hurricanes that we've had over the last year, is really under section or Senate Bill 180 because of the fact that almost the entire state has been affected. One of the provisions of the bill also says that if you're within 100 miles of the storm radius and the storm tracker, then you're affected by Senate Bill 180. As I said, it's effective July 1st, 2026, and it provides for training and enforcement pursuant to the bill. Leanne, what I'll do is just say move to the next slide when we get ready to do that. Why don't we go to the background and basics now? The next slide, please. Basically, what it says is you can't enforce or adopt more stringent rules that are provided by the National Flood Insurance Program related to cumulative substantial improvement period. So you can't be more stringent than the national or the federal legislation on that. In other words, if somebody's fixing their home and they're under the National Flood Insurance Program, you can't say you've got to do it more quickly. One of the major provisions of the act is that you can't impose impact fees. So if your house gets torn up by a storm and is affected by the hurricane and you have to rebuild and you're rebuilding under that same footprint, then you can't impose impact fees. And of course, the impact fees, if you build larger than your footprint, then the impact fees have to relate, as they always do, to whatever improvements that the city is intending to have. But there is a restriction on impact fees. The same goes as to homestead value. So if your home is knocked down by a hurricane or affected by the hurricane, you rebuild and perhaps you improve the home. If it's within 130% of the value of the home as it existed prior to the hurricane, you can't increase your assessment of the taxes if it's your homestead. If the square footage is up to 2,000 square feet additional, again, you can't increase your homestead taxes on that residence. It establishes regional and interregional coordination to ensure that each county has a shelter provision. And of course, the cities within the county have to work with the county and establish where is our shelters going to be, where do we have provision for safety in the event of a hurricane or disaster. We have to work with the county as to the emergency management plan, so there's specific requirements to that. And then that has to be interpreted and interrelated as to the state emergency management plan. There's a minimum number of training hours for managers, municipal administrators, that's you all, the commissioners. Emergency management director, we have to identify somebody on staff that will be our emergency management director, whether that's our city manager or our police chief, but somebody has to be designated for that. Your public works official have to participate in the training. So Leanne's right up to speed and she's got up there the training requirements, who it affects. The building officials for the city have to be trained, as well as the construction personnel. Leanne, if we go to the next slide, and it'll tell you where the training is to be had. It's a 4-hour minimum training requirement, and on the website it has posted where you can do that. So unlike the ethics training, which you can do at our office, unfortunately you're going to have to go on this website and participate in the 4-hour training. I don't know if you'll get a certificate at the end. I would imagine that you will, and that's one of the requirements of the law. By April 1st each year, you have to have a hurricane readiness plan and a session to establish what your planning actually is. And part of that is that you have to identify a shelter that works with special needs persons in your community. That includes Department of Veterans Affairs, persons that are caring for those persons also have to have shelter, an ability to shelter together with, so if you have somebody with developmental needs, then the person that cares for that person also has to be able to be allowed into the shelter. The permit rights are extended for 24 months in addition to the tolled period. This is retroactively back to September 28th of 2022. So once the storm has passed and the declaration of emergency has ended and the tolling period for permitting has finished, then your permit rights are extended. So many times in the code, if you haven't exercised your permit rights within 12 months, then your permit is finished. Well, this says no, it's under a tolling period as far as that goes. We have to notify the Division of Emergency Management who our emergency contact person will be. Post-storm permitting, there has to be a plan to expedite the permitting so that recovery can be had for your building inspections, your permitting, your enforcement. There needs to be a mutual aid, including private sector agreements. So if your building official or your building department is affected by the storm, you should have in place contracting with private building permitting so that you can go ahead and process permits. There has to be alternate locations identified for your permitting. So let's say this office is affected by the storm. We need to have a alternate designated placement site for permitting. There needs to be a waiver of the fees that are normally associated with permitting. There needs to be a plan for your debris removal. You must, by May 1st of each year, designate on your website what your hurricane recovery permitting guide is and your rebuild guide. So there's things for your building department to undertake associated with this law, as well as your planning department. 480 days after the state of emergency, you cannot increase your fees, your permitting fees, and you must have your permitting office open for at least 40 hours per week. So if your original permitting office is harmed by the storm, your alternate site needs to be open, and it needs to be open for 40 hours a week per the law. You need to provide a statewide report and management plan for the next 5-year period. And it has to identify what your hurricane shelter needs are. One of the areas that I had starred under the law is your shelter has to accept your pets. So we have to identify a shelter that is accessible for not only persons with developmental needs or veterans, but also people that have pets. They have to have the availability to shelter. And that includes all of folks with developmental disabilities. As we've stated, there is a 100-mile radius from the storm track, and for 1 year after the storm, you cannot enact a moratorium on building permits, construction, redevelopment of property, and you can't have more burdensome procedures enacted for the review of site plans, development permits, development orders. And what it also provides is if you have setback, things like this as an example, let's say you have a 10-foot setback on properties, you can't implement a 12-foot setback as a result of the hurricane. You have to keep the restrictions. You could have less restrictive covenants in your code of ordinances, but you can't make it more restrictive. You must have 14 days. So if a person is going to contest your enactment of any laws, then they must give you notice and 14 days to revoke that law. If they say that your law is violative of the statute, then they have to give you notice and you have to have the ability to withdraw that within 14 days. If you don't do that, they have the ability to seek a preliminary injunction, and they are entitled to summary procedure under this act, which means that the lawsuit must be advanced on the court's calendar, and it must be dealt with very quickly by the courts. If you lose, then the person that is enforcing their rights is entitled to attorney's fees. So it's got a pretty big hammer associated with it if you don't do what is necessary. And lastly, you need to identify at least one debris management site. I think a lot of this, the way I read the law, is we can do interlocal agreements with the county or other municipalities that so we can take care of a lot of this in by virtue of us coordinating with the cities around us as well as the county. And that's the overall arching intent of this, is that we're going to work as a city to adopt these plans under the law. Again, we're on a pretty hurried up situation because we got a July 1st date. My recommendation would be that you take and our staff takes the website by July 1st and get the 4 hours under your belt. And we work with the communities around us to identify through interlocal agreements, our emergency management plan, and our debris removal site, and that sort of thing. Now, just turning, last point is as to the law. There's a number, I believe it's 22 cities and local governments that have brought a lawsuit in Leon County. That lawsuit was pared down. Many of the counts were dismissed. The judge in Leon County said that in many instances, the action was speculative, that harm has not actually happened up till this point. Orange County and Manatee County have both received lawsuits under Senate Bill 180 already. So they identified, no, we are under the gun as a result of this law. And the court looked at that, but said, well, you don't have standing to bring these actions against the state officials. So we're going to dismiss all of the counts of your lawsuit, save one, which is the unfunded mandate provision of the lawsuit. So this is a state law that is producing a lot of rules and regulations for cities and counties. And the one area that is left yet to be decided by the court is the unfunded mandate provision. Weiss Sorolla law firm is prosecuting this on behalf of the 22 plaintiffs, including the city of Alachua. So all of the local governments are working together to test the constitutionality and the effect of this law. That's the gist of it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Mr.
No,
Mayor, I have some questions for the city attorney regarding this. Can anyone sue the city if we enact a law under that they could say is more restrictive?
I think you still have to prove standing.
Mhm.
Now, there are some tenant provisions in the law. So I think that if you were a tenant that is affected by a restrictive act that the city has, I think you would have standing. If you're a landowner or have an interest in property that is being affected by the law that would be more restrictive, I think you would have the ability to have standing and
Yeah.
bring a lawsuit as well.
And so I guess one of the things is that so unfunded mandates, that's a big thing of us trying to deal with. One is making sure we have the correct staffing, and then we have the budgetary capacity for some of these things. But what I know, and a lot of people may be wondering about this, is specifically under Section 18 regarding more restrictive building on land. So this means any construction, reconstruction, or redevelopment of any property, no matter what,
Yes.
that it's held.
It doesn't really delineate. It just says any building permit.
Right.
So,
So,
yes.
so basically, as long as there has been a hurricane within 100 miles in the last year, and right now they're making it last until 2027. Is that correct?
Correct.
October
I think it's
2027.
October
So by that
2027.
time it will be like 2 years since Alachua has dealt with a hurricane like around that time. depending on what happens over the summer. So my question, and from a legal perspective, is what can we do as a commission to either set things in place in preparation so that if hurricanes do hit, hurricanes don't hit within that 2027 timeline, or say one happens in September and there's no more for another year, right? That's the only one that gets within us. What can we do as commissioners if we're looking at, strengthening our LDRs or strengthening our comprehensive plan? What can we do now to set the stage for that?
Well, I think you can work with your planning staff. You could look at regulations, and really this is the issue that many of the local governments that are bringing the lawsuit have identified, is that they're updating their land development regulations, they're updating their comprehensive plans as part of their normal procedures in implementing the changes that are necessary for the local governments. And now this act has come in place, and some of those governments had actually received state approval, or were in the process of state approval of those actions, and now they're basically stuck in the mud because of Senate Bill 180.
Yeah.
So I think there's a couple of things you can do as a commissioner. First of all, I think working with your planning staff and planning for the implementation of regulations that you think are supportive of the areas that you need to modify under the comprehensive plan, so that when and if the restrictions are lifted, you're able to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having said that, you just identified it very, very well. Really, the entire state was affected by the hurricanes that have come through for the
And so that
past year.
brings up a second point that's more like legal philosophy on this, is like because I can't get an answer out of this, and I know when we asked for our state representative of why, Mr. City Manager, what was the response from them for that?
In reference to Senate Bill 180,
Yeah.
they were not responsive.
Okay, so we couldn't get answers as to why this needed to be implemented in terms of the restrictions on the LDRs for such a large time frame. Because there's scales, I feel like, with when we talk about damage from 100 miles, it can be 100 miles that's off the coast of St. Augustine, and we could catch a tailwind from that. Maybe our power flickers for a little bit, but then now we have a whole year of having to deal with this. So what I'm trying to understand is with this lawsuit, why has there been like some type of decision by the courts against home rule? Because this feels like this is a home rule type of situations where they're saying, hey, Florida, we're known for hurricanes. Usually we get a hurricane every year. This past year, it was surprising. We only had none. And the last time that I think that happened was 2015, 10 years ago. And so are we saying like for the next 10 years, we're not going to be able to do anything in terms of controlling how things grow in our city and at what pace? So I'm just trying to understand, like, why are the courts not defending home rule on this?
Well, I think it's a great question, and I think the way I interpret Judge Angela Dempsey's ruling is basically that you look at the state supremacy as far as their legislative ability, and of course we have constitutional home rule protections, no question about that. But this is, I think, what she's saying is that this act is a mandate for the state as well as the local governments to coordinate their emergency powers and what actions they're going to have. Where I think your critique is just is that the act is written quite broadly, and there are some comprehensive plan provisions that really would have no effect on building or rebuilding or re-permitting and that sort of thing. I can understand those provisions that are directly related to hurricane damage and the rebuilding of those structures. But, and so in answer to your question, I think working with our local legislative delegation would be a very effective way My view is our local legislative delegation is responsive to the times that I've spoken to them. They will be holding a town hall meeting. We can identify those dates, but at the town hall meeting, it's a little bit late in the game to get there. So doing it before that is important, and asking for one-on-ones with them. Now they're in legislative session right now. This is not the time to do it. But when they come out of legislative session, and I think working with your planning staff on specifics and specific language, or maybe the league, the Florida League, on what would we like to see as far as amendments to Senate Bill 180. Those are the kind of things that I think would be effective for you as a commissioner.
Uh, so what I'm hearing is one, we have to be proactive of setting up our the changes we want to see in our LDRs and our comp plan. So when we get the green light, if we can go, because going through LDRs and reevaluating LDRs, that takes time. Because the LDRs, they connect to different portions, and so if you change one thing, you have to make sure everything else is consistent with that. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so the second thing is dealing with our state legislators on emphasizing why it's important for small cities like us and small towns like us being able to have control over how we grow, because we live here, and so we should have a say in how our city is. So I really appreciate the update on this. Thank you.
I think that in answer to your question, you're playing on a 3-level chess game right now. You're looking at your modification of your LDRs and your comp plan and being ready to make those changes. You're also, specifically, City of Alachua is playing on the level of the chess game of in court. So you're participating with your other sister cities and county governments, and you're making your point known in court, which is, I think, a very important element as well. And many cities haven't done that. City of Alachua is doing that. And then thirdly, as you just noted, working with your local legislative delegation, and I think Rodolfo and I can work on getting that in motion. And I think what I would suggest is that we work and have a plan of attack for when we meet with the local legislative delegation. We're not just going hat in hand saying, hey, we need a change here. We need to say with the specifics, here's what we think would be effective. We get it. Overall coordination of hurricanes and the damage that hurricanes do, particularly to the state, is a state mandated policy as what we're doing here. But here's how we can implement this in a more effective way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I add a point?
Thank you. I would like for, if you have any questions from the staff, to ask some. Let us not prolong all these questions so we can let the citizens have. Thank you. But you go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind. Listening to what the attorney said, we do have a long list and a lot of work ahead of us. The main takeaways I heard: June 1st is coming. Everyone be prepared for hurricane season. We do live in Florida. For this board, there is mandatory training requirements. If you need any assistance on where to go and log in, let me know. Yes, you do get a certificate at the end. And yes, it does take 4 hours. And then we are working with our local county to go ahead and get all those items checked and make sure everything's taken care of. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner, you have something you'd like to say?
Yeah, I just had a question for the city attorney. We were talking about the commission working with the planners and stuff. Something with such huge impact, wouldn't it be? I know there's certain projects that fall under a certain threshold that may not come to the commission. Wouldn't those projects need to come, especially if we're going to fall into something with such significant legal impact, for the commission to make a final decision on?
Absolutely. Whatever we do needs to be coordinated, and the commission needs to, as a majority vote, needs to act in unison, or at least majority.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we'll have comments from public on the subject and not on the agenda.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to come introduce myself. My name is Eric Atria. I'm currently running for Alachua County Judge. I live in Alachua. I love seeing all of you out here showing that you're engaged. When you run for judge, you can't take political positions. So I can just tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a public defender for 21 years. And I do pro bono work to help people in our community. And I teach at the University of Florida as an adjunct professor. So this election is in August. I don't know. I know this city doesn't have any elections in August, but Gainesville does. So maybe this is the wrong market for that. But I think county commission is on that ballot as well. But I wanted to just make sure you all knew, again, there's a judicial race for Alachua County Judge, and my name's Eric Atria, and I'm running. If you had any questions, that'd be great. You can reach out to me. If not, it's a pleasure to meet you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to speak on the topic of the rumored data center proposed for the Phoenix Industrial Complex.
Excuse me, did I get your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Dan Rittenhouse. My current position is that I'm the vice president of the Turkey Creek Homeowners Association. And in my day job, I'm the vice president of a technology company. So I wanted to just speak on that topic. I think it's a rumor at the moment. I haven't seen an official application, but I don't know where the venue is going to take place where people can speak about it. So I was going to speak about it here. I want to make it clear from the onset that I'm not anti-technology, anti-growth, or anti-data center. In fact, my industry depends on these kind of facilities. I understand the important role they play in our modern businesses, communications, artificial intelligence, et cetera, and countless other digital services we use every day. But because of my background, I also understand the scale and infrastructure of the power, cooling, redundancy, and long-term planning needed for these data centers. These projects require meaningful can mean meaningful opportunities for tax revenue, technology investments in the community, when appropriately planned and transparently. However, there appears to be a lot of confusion about this particular rumored project. In particular, my understanding is where the project is being proposed, 2 of the 4 parcels were annexed into the city a few years back, and the other 2 are not. So it's really confusing, considering one may be county, one may be city. But I will say that we need to have a realistic discussion about the demands that may put on our infrastructure, and specifically around water consumption and power. These modern hyperscale data centers commonly use evaporative cooling, which takes a lot of water out of our system. For this site that is currently up for sale, which is a 200,000 foot facility, can consume anywhere between 1 million and 500,000 gallons of water a day. That if all of that facility was sold, it could consume as much as 6 times that. So that's a real impact. Same thing with the electricity. But the thing that I want to urge you guys is, if this comes up for consideration, not to just evaluate what is going to be presented there today. That property has a lot of ability to expand, and think about the long-term effects of that expansion. We also, I believe that as a community, we have the opportunity to make an informed decision. I don't know where that venue is going to take place, but I would urge you guys to be actively engaged in that process and think real carefully about the community impacts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I respond to
Yes, you
Dan's
may.
statement? Dan, thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns. You're voicing your concerns, and we've received many phone calls and emails about this location that you talked about. And what you just expressed is what we want to move forward with all the information as we do. The parcel you referenced does not fall within the city of Alachua. It's right outside our corporate limits, that one building. And so I do know we were supposed to have a joint counting with the meeting with them today. We want a full participation by their board to discuss this important topic. And so we'll reschedule that meeting at a later time. But no, we want you guys to come out, voice your concerns, and for us to address it appropriately. And thank you for taking time to let us know what everyone's been saying. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Commissioners. My name is Faith Randall. I've lived in Turkey Creek for 16 years. I used to work for the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, and I was a pretty good researcher. So I researched a little bit about, after I heard about this, about what data centers do. And I'll just run through quickly some of the things that I found. By the way, just a few days ago, Maine signed into law a ban on data centers. Just happened. There are many other states that now have legislation or considering banning temporarily at least a month, or a year, or 2 years, and so on. So there is quite a bit of controversy about what's going on. I know that you don't have a data center ordinance, but I couldn't find anybody else's either. So I don't think anybody has one because it's such a difficult topic and there's so much behind it. I just want to present a few things that I had found. University of Florida actually has been commenting on our water. And by the way, I have a packet for you of everything that I've discussed, everything that I'm bringing up. So I'll leave that with you with your permission. Basically, what the University of Florida, this is Thomson Earth Systems Institute. They've already said, and this is a current article, it was posted on the Florida Museum of Natural History website. We already have overexploitation in water. We already have contamination of water and saltwater intrusion. So there are lots of worries already with our aquifer, and that's been brought up by some of the commissioners and also by Mr. Rittenhouse. There's also something new that's contributed, chemical pollution that we've never heard of before, called forever chemicals. And data centers emit these chemicals that can be stored in your body. And again, I'll leave all this information with you. They've now found, and all data centers emit noise 24/7. It's a matter of size and degree. Excuse me, 100 decibels is not unusual for a data center. And here's a National Institutes of Health study. They found that high level infrasound, which could be like 100 decibels, it can actually affect people's hearts. It changes the activity. So I'll leave that with you. This is such an all-consuming idea that our National Institutes of Health actually is calling for empirical research to find out what the long-term effects are of all of this. So this is something that our national government is extremely concerned about. And there are some studies already that have taken place that have determined that we will need twice as much energy in the year 2030 as we need now for data centers. So it's going to be incremental in that way. Another interesting thing, and then I'll leave it because Mr. Rittenhouse did such a great job of outlining, we have electrical issues, noise pollution, and so on. AI, this is a recent article. AI data centers are targeting unincorporated rural areas so that they can bypass bans and regulations because nobody has them in place. Small towns like us, we don't have the staff to do that. That's not a judgment on you. There's just no money to do that. Plus, this has just started to happen. But that is the trend. And hello, you want me to get it? No. And the final thing, there are some. Do you want me to?
Your time is
sorry.
up.
Oh, all right.
You can
Okay.
cut back.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I said all the important stuff.
Mr. Mayor.
That's
So,
definitely
so
good.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I can, I'll get Mrs. Randall's information. We'll scan it.
Yes,
We'll
yes,
provide it for all
please.
this commission. Again, ma'am, thank you for taking the time to do
Thank
the
you.
research.
Glad you told me what that was.
No, thank you.
Hi, my name is Alexander Phillip. Is Miss Kamek here? No? She's not here? Okay, well, it's telling them that Representative Kamek isn't here to discuss her environment data project in person. How can we trust a project managed by someone whose voting record shows she's fighting for the legal right to ignore data whenever it's convenient for her corporate donors? If she's not here to answer to us, It's pretty clear who she's actually following, and it isn't the data. Now, the question is probably, what does this have to do with that? The connection is simple. It's about whose interests are being represented in this room. When a representative accepts tens of thousands of dollars from a high-level lobbyist while simultaneously pushing for God Squad loopholes that bypass our environmental protections, it reveals a clear pattern. My question is, for all y'all, right? How can the people of Alachua trust your data when your funding and your legislative record both show that your loyalty lies with special interests and developers rather than our water? I'm not understanding that. Now, this is another thing. I'm here because while the people of Alachua are fighting to protect our water and our springs, our representatives are busy collecting checks. Representative Kamek, she accepted exactly $74,235 from APAC affiliated donors this cycle. Okay, my question is simple. When these springs are destroyed by this data entry project, will that $74,000 be enough to buy us clean water? Or have you already decided that lobbyist money is worth more than our future? They are funding genocides. But yet we're sitting here arguing whether the data center is proper to put there or not, and it's going to contaminate water. I don't understand that. If she was here, this is what I had to say to her. Congresswoman, you've emphasized using data to protect our springs, yet you've actively worked to expand God Squad loopholes that allow developers to bypass the Endangered Species Act. If your data is meant to protect the ecosystem, why are you fighting for the legal authority to ignore that same data when it gets in the way of our development? Is this project about conservation, or is it just about creating a data-backed shield for corporate interest? How can we trust a data project managed by someone who is simultaneously fighting for the legal right to ignore environmental data while it's convenient for corporate projects? Which is it? Are we following the data or are we following the donors? I just seen it on Instagram. Okay, I'm not a smarty pants or anything. I'm just a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? We're part of the ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is what I'm representing. There's devotees in the community that essentially, we go to the springs every day. That's
Thank
point
you.
taken.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I add a comment to
Yes,
that?
yes, please.
I do appreciate everybody's passion, and this is the board to speak up on local issues. This board does listen. Just to be clear, we have no proposals. There's been no application for a data center within the city limits. This one parcel is outside the city limits, is in the county, and the county has been abreast on all the concerns you guys are addressing. We look forward to bringing back something that's in harmonious with everybody that's expressing their concerns here. I just want to express there's no proposal or submission to the state of Alachua.
Thank you. Will there be another comment from the public?
Just to clarify, Mr. Mayor, we still want to hear you. This is public comment for items not on the agenda, and discussion of data centers. Potential data centers are not on the agenda, so I think we can still talk about that if anyone from the public wants to.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Umesh, and I heard with interest the previous comments. And my question is why there is no Wi-Fi in the city hall? Because, well, if you want me to tell the reasons, I can, but I have only few seconds. And last time also I raised the issue of agenda, and I don't understand why. Means Thursday afternoon I communicated to your office, and still it was in process. It was posted late Thursday evening when the city closes. And that's another question as well. Why the city has Monday to Thursday hours? When I think, I don't know, around in the city, I met like Monday to Friday hours. So, so going next, means there's a lot of development talk going on, a lot of subdivisions, a lot of malls, a lot of this, and especially the data center as well, and everything is concerning. And the most concerning topic for me is the traffic. And we have right in front of the city hall 141 and 441 junction. And that's the junction I use most of the time. And many times, I think I will say it with 75% of the time, I had to wait for 2 lights. And sometimes it goes 3 lights. And I am seeing constantly, like, people are running left or right. They are going on 140, they are going on some other to kind of bypass and go on the 441. I also do that because what can I do? So, and I am having, like, some businesses going with the city. So I'm learning a lot about the city, functioning, people, officers, staff, everything. And so the traffic, also the main other topic is like traffic is not only like, because I have lived in the big cities and downtown. So I have like, very bad experience. And the most important is the trucks, their safety issue, and which raises the burden on the side roads. And then in the process of the city business I'm doing, I am learning there are a lot of unimproved roads. They are just like lying over there. And I'm hearing the vision 2050 and this and that. My question is, do we have ground 2026 report? Any audits is being done? Where the city stands right now? Is city like compatible 2026? Are they good? Are we, can we rate it? Like, are we can satisfied with our, like, whatever it is, our comparison to whatever things are they? And we are targeting 2050. Do we have our homework here, like on ground, which we are standing 2026 and we are seeing 2050 for what? Do we have our things in, like, is it 1900 right now or 2000 or something like that? So there are a couple of many other things, but I have like only this. So do we have any audit of the city? City conducts any audits for its own? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your concern. Will there be another?
Mr. Mayor, regarding Wi-Fi, I believe in our strategic meeting, we just talked about having Wi-Fi in downtown. Is there a way we can get Wi-Fi in City Hall?
If this commissioner wishes, we can look into providing Wi-Fi at City Hall.
Just to clarify from the city manager, do I have to put that on the agenda, or can we look into that and it will come before us?
If this board wishes, we can present.
Do you need a vote?
The option. It would be nice. Yes.
Does that mean we have to waive procedures?
You want to say?
Okay. I'm going to put an agenda. I'm going to ask the city manager to put an agenda item for the next meeting for Wi-Fi in City Hall, so we don't have to go through the withdrawal procedures on that. So that's what I'll do. I'll put it there, and we can have a discussion then, and we can just vote right there. Does that sound good for my fellow commissioners? We don't need a vote on it, but I'm just going to tell you guys right now that's what I'm going to do.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Will there be another? If anyone else have a comment, come on, state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Caden Strafozo. I'm a resident of Alachua County. Unfortunately, I'm not a resident of the city of Alachua, but I come here this afternoon in order to speak up and make sure that the development of data centers within the county of Alachua should not be authorized in any capacity. Alachua County has very beautiful natural waterways and natural forests, and for us to destroy them and put forth these blocks of concrete that don't really look beautiful, point blank period, unacceptable. It's my only comment at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Garvin Klein. I'm a resident of Alachua County, and also not from the city of Alachua, but I also want to speak up about the data centers. I'm an engineering student down in Gainesville, but a big problem with data centers is water consumption. So a lot of people talk about it, but it's creates a lot of evaporation where we don't understand how much water is just lost. One of the biggest money makers in Florida is water-based amenities. this state loses money with the idea of getting to drought areas. I've lived in California as well, and when drought happens, everything skyrockets. It's harder for residents, so residents have less money to spend. Less money goes into the local economy, and having less money for a local economy because of the idea of a data center is short-sighted. Having a data center put in here just for like possibly any amount of money, not just within city limits, but anywhere in Florida, especially near here. We have High Springs nearby. We have obviously Jenny, and these things are beautiful and stunning, and they attract a lot of people to Florida. I mean, just the other day, I met somebody from Chicago who moved to High Springs just because of how beautiful it was. You have another person coming into the community for the sheer sake of spending money and being part of it due to the sheer beauty of it. And we are taking away this fantastic, I guess, financial and beautiful part of our state. I mean, this is a pride that we have. And putting this data center is like feeding a big dragon that's going to hunger for more water and more water and more water. Once we have one, two might not seem so bad, or three, or four. And no matter how many there are, they will get bigger and larger. And sooner or later, we're going to have water problems, and we're going to have to find somewhere to get the water. And we have this natural aquifer that we are known for, and it's not worth it in any capacity to put a data center anywhere in Florida. It just doesn't make sense. It's short-sighted. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. That's it.
Mr. Mayor, I may have missed it, but can I have the gentleman's name for the record?
Oh, Garvin Klein.
Garvin Klein. Garvin Klein. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jess Elliott, and I live out sort of back towards Hague, so I'm not in the city. I just wanted to throw out my opinion that I know for a long time the county has sort of envisioned 441 being developed all the way from Gainesville to High Springs, and I know there's probably not a whole lot to do about that. But I feel like we're really on a tipping point with Alachua. We have the small town vibe. High Springs has a real cute thing going on. And I really hope that we can build, but build smart. Like, how many more Chick-fil-A's do we need? How many more car washes do we need? How much more of same old do we need? But if you could get local businesses in, there's an empty gym. We have an empty grocery store. We have for sale for lease signs on downtown. You could bring back and make downtown so cute and have more festivals, and you built that beautiful recreation center. I want to see Alachua be quaint and charming, like a destination that people want to come to because we're different, not because we have Chick-fil-A and another Publix. I mean, nothing against Publix or anybody. All of those individually are fine, but do we have to have one every 10 feet? Could we have something with local flair, something that's different? Please, 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 God, I feel like we're on a tipping point. Make wise choices with growth. Please, please, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Forrest Sheffer. I live in Gainesville. I'm a botanist as well as a massage therapist, and I actually canceled clients to come to this session because I thought that this was going to be the meeting, but it got moved to tomorrow. And I also want to reference that seems to be a tactic so that, I don't know, public word sometimes gets swept under the fact that this kind of came around really quick too. People were really only talking about it and posting about it maybe outside of the immediate community of Alachua, but this project, the data center, of course, would impact all of South Florida. Florida is on a tiny little slope. Water from the north moves all the way south. We would be stealing millions of gallons of water from South Florida, which is already having fires every day and extreme levels of drought. And when Alachua potentially catches on fire, will we have the water to put it out if we drain our aquifer right here? Will we have to outsource water from other places to deal with wildfires. These are really real concerns, and I'd like to see the local cities putting up legislation in place right now that's not just, oh, it's in the county, it's not in the city. Well, how about the city puts up a legislation that blocks it from being in the city? So then it's not even a question. And I don't have to come back again, but I will. Yeah. I'd like to see that on the agenda. It seems like you guys agree with the general populace here that you don't want your water contaminated and your natural history stolen. So maybe propose right now the question of starting this legislation. You know, why do we keep pushing this down the road? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Will there be another public comments?
Hi, my name is Tiffany Cole, and I did kind of want to echo a little bit of what she said when it came to the sudden change of agenda. I found out about this potential rumor of a data center this morning and was doing a lot of research trying to figure out exactly whether it was going to be in this meeting or not. I actually called this city hall twice and was told two different things by two different people. First being that it was supposed to be at the 3 o'clock meeting, the second being that it was going to be at the 6 o'clock meeting. And then I had another friend call saying that actually they told us that that entire agenda item has been removed and it's not going to be going on anymore. So I'm not, that sounds like there was just some miscommunications or perhaps whatever questions I was asking they didn't fully understand. But something else that came to my attention, I think where the rumor came from was from the My Gainesville Realty listing by Eric Ligman. He's the one that was mentioning an industrial redevelopment opportunity for the 104 acres in North Central Florida. The interesting thing about this website is that actually used to say data center on that website. And you can tell because the URL still does. And if you go on the Wayback Machine, you can also bring up the website that says data center, but they have since changed the language. And so I find that concerning because it feels like there's a lack of transparency, not from you guys, but just in general surrounding this issue. Like they don't want people to know when these meetings are happening or what it's going to be actually about, or the language is just not even referencing what it actually is. So that just brought up a red flag in my mind. And we had a friend who also reached out directly to Eric Ligman, and he said, I don't know what you're talking about. There's been no mention of a data center. But again, you can look directly at the URL of that website, and it says high wattage data center. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Will there be another?
Hello, everyone. My name is Delia White, and I've been living in Alachua for over 30 years. I've seen it grow from small town to something that is totally different. I mean, I know cities grow and everything, but it's losing that small town feeling that everybody liked. And most of us are here in opposition for the data center. We don't want it. We don't care for it. Not only does it consume our resources, our water resources, we have Coca-Cola Bottling Company out in the springs that are pumping out all this water, fresh water, selling it, and not, we're in a drought, slow, but also the power grid. If something like this comes to our town, can our power grid already sustain it? Or will it cost the taxpayers an increase in their utility bills, which is already high? And young families are struggling. Young families are struggling. Single parents are struggling. There's people on fixed incomes are struggling with electricity and just general needs. And then if we need to update our power grid, are you going to tax those people here? Are you going to give the data center, a big business, a tax break? And if they want to come in here, get all the money from them. Don't pass it on to the residents. Make them pay for it. If they're going to give jobs, that's great. If it's really going to benefit the community. If it's not for the good of the citizens, I think that should really be taken into consideration if the citizens want that. If it's good for our community. That's all I have to say.
But thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I add to
Yes, you
her
can.
comments?
But you can still come up. Go ahead.
My goal is to keep to inform, and so the power grid was brought up. That territory or that location is in Duke's territory, not within the city of Alachua service territory, and so all the challenges you brought up would be managed by Duke. And so, no, our intent is never ever to pass a burden like that to the ratepayers.
Mr. Mayor.
Hold on. Please. Don't. Until you come up to the podium, I would like for you to not speak out, please.
We're following parliamentary procedure.
Before one of my commissioners
Because this has been brought up to me a few times concerning the substation. There's a project going on out there. There was a recent bid process. Can you enlighten myself and the public on what's going on with that and why?
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. The city of Alachua has the lowest electric rates in the state of Florida. We're very proud of that. We brag about it as much as we possibly can, and that's due to the planning that what we have. And so we've planned for resiliency and reliability within our substation. So this is a plan we've had in place for multiple years, and the purchase of a transformer is to continue the good support of the proactive planning that we have for our substation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And Mr. Mayor, and I think you know the answer on this. I've been doing my own homework on industrial electric grids. That stuff would not support what was it, 100 megawatt? It's like a huge megawatt type of facility with our current city structure.
Again, they're not within our territory, but given the yes, a lot of upgrades would need to happen.
Just some reassurance.
Yes,
all right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Melanie Murray. I've lived in Alachua for 26 years. Before that, I lived just outside of Alachua city limits. My children attended Irby, Alachua, and Mabane. I did my student teaching at Alachua Elementary. My background is environmental policy analysis and planning with a minor in water issues, water quality, and water chemistry. I've been to a number of informational classes up at the Springs Institute in High Springs. For the Swanee River watershed or spring shed, the water flows kind of north and then along the Swanee River. For the St. John watershed and spring shed, it flows north along the St. John's River and then out to the sea. You're seeing an incredible drought this past year and a half. Tune into Channel 20, the local TV channel, and they're talking about how we need more than 2 feet of rain in the next couple of months to recover and get back to normal. I mean, we are in such a drastic drought right now. It is in the reddest of the red. And to talk about having a group of a data center come in, we're not even sure where. Is it in 2 parcels that are in the city of Alachua and 2 parcels that are in the county, or 1 parcel that's seriously starting out just in the county with a possible addition of 3 more parcels. We don't know. That's the scary part. We don't know. But in order to be good planners, we have to have the ability to look down the road in an intelligent, well-informed, pre-informed kind of ability. And that's where good science, good planning, and good get your feet on the ground, get informed, and kind of wisdom comes into play. And sometimes your people who live in your community are your best source of information. You have a lot of highly educated individuals. You are highly educated. Working together, we can ask the right questions. So we don't have an excess of water. The springs are drying up, starting from Jacksonville, moving west. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more? You may come to the podium.
Good evening, Mayor. John Havlick. I live here in downtown Alachua. Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney. I know there's a lot of visitors from outside of the city of Alachua, and appreciate hearing people. I guess I just wanted to bring to people's attention, there's this evening's commission meeting, a standard Monday night every other week commission meeting. Tomorrow, for those of us who are residents of Alachua, I would encourage you to consider coming back because there's a meeting for our Alachua 2050. There were some flyers in the back, so I'm just going to make that known to the public, those of us who live in the city. Please consider coming in, and there's also a QR code you can scan to do the survey about what you're some questions and things. So I just want to make that known to people, just to maybe help minimize confusion. Was there a meeting tonight, tomorrow night? What's going on? But just a real simple thing, maybe like that. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Robin Miller, and I've lived in North Central Florida my entire life. And I'll keep this brief because so many other people have already spoken about it. But I wanted to come forward as one more person who also opposes any potential AI data centers in this area. As other people have already said, and much more eloquently than me, AI data centers require immense amounts of electricity and water, putting a strain on local resources, and local communities will suffer if it is allowed to operate here. Thank you.
Thank you. If that be all, we'll move. Is there any?
Well, Mr. Mayor, just because there's so much public sentiment, I just wanted to state this for the public. Data centers are just they're symptoms. Our concerns with these data centers, it's symptoms of a system where the state has continued to strip local voices from having the power of how their cities can grow. Whether that's the blue ribbon projects that thankfully got shut down, where if you own enough land, you can build whatever you want, to again Senate Bill 180, and even with this bill, I think it's 484. There's still gaps in that regarding whether or not it's feasible, and so what we really must do is we must do everything we can now. And so for me, from a legislative side, from a commissioner, that's making sure our LDRs are protecting this, or at least our LDRs are set up in a way so, like the attorney said, so when that green light hits, we're going and we can get this stuff through. But we must do everything in our power to protect the quality of life of the residents of the city of Alachua and really give them the good life community they deserve. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Can I ask, or actually, I have questions. Is
Come to the podium, please.
I really have questions. I'm not so much. My
Well,
name's Gloria
still
Gould.
state your
Okay,
name and
my name is Gloria Gould, and I've
thank you.
lived in the city of Alachua since 1994. Now, I really have questions. Are we going to be able to do something tomorrow? Because I've got a lot of friends that they're coming tomorrow now. Is there going to be something tomorrow? Or is this not on the agenda tomorrow? Because I'm texting back and forth. I'm here now and we're talking about it. And my friend is saying, I'm coming tomorrow. Is there going to be a discussion about um, the AI data center tomorrow? Or is this something that's going to be in the future because we need to talk to the Alachua County about this? Because I'm just confused. I mean, then I'm hearing other things like we have to stop this before, how do I say this, before July 1st, because otherwise it's going to be in our hands. There's all kinds of things going on that I have questions, but I don't know, does anybody have answers? The big one though is if we're going to have a meeting on this tomorrow, because I thought it was going to be about 2050 tomorrow. That's what I saw. But that's all I have is I'm curious about that. But I do like your support because I really do feel like you guys are supporting us because nobody wants to mess up those springs. I mean, that's it. That's what, like, the biggest thing we have is that aquifer. But anyway, I get a little revved up. But that's it. Do we have an answer on that one question? Is this going to be brought up tomorrow? And it's just for friends of mine that did not come tonight. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You come to the podium, please.
You know, it just blows my mind. You know what I mean? I still want my answer. And if y'all can relate this to Miss Kamek, tell her Alexander Phillip said it personally.
State your name again.
Alexander Wayne Phillip. You know, I
Thank
was
you.
at one point I was inmate G61564. You know what I mean? I did time and I served my time too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, so what's up with the APAC money thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like what's going on with that? Because something's not right there. But yet we want to make data centers and strip resources. What is this, Gaza?
Mr.
I don't understand.
Mr. Mayor, I would just like to, since the gentleman has already spoken, but I do want to provide some insight on this. We do not have any legislative relationships with
Yeah.
But you
I
guys
don't
can
think
talk to her, correct? You guys can say something to her? Isn't she the representative of this county? Can't she make a move like to stop this from
so.
happening? I don't understand.
I would redirect you to her office.
Yeah.
I don't believe we've gotten any insights from anything regarding that.
But
But for Mr. Mayor, for the previous question that was asked. So tomorrow is the Alachua 2050 public workshop, and this is where we're going over things regarding our comprehensive plan and the vision of our city, and why this. And so this isn't a normal meeting per se; it's a workshop on getting community feedback. Okay, because there's a specific portion of Senate Bill 484 regarding data centers. And I'm just going to read it for you. The legislature finds that certain land uses, such as data centers, may present unique planning, infrastructure, and compatibility considerations. The legislator intends that such considerations shall be addressed through local comprehensive planning and land development regulations. So the state has said, you know, we can try and address these through here, through our comp plans and our LDRs. The caveat is Senate Bill 180 is still sitting over our heads, but that doesn't mean we don't have the tools as soon as we get the green light. So it's really important that we get the public's feedback at these workshops as well. I know myself as a commissioner, I'm going to be carrying the sentiment when it comes back through to us as we go through the comprehensive plan process. But that's where the confusion here. It was originally supposed to be a joint county city meeting. However, they ended up having to reschedule that. And so now we're at a city commission meeting, and tomorrow is a public workshop. And so there's still going to be that portion there. And that's another time I would love to hear everyone's feedback on these things. And then if you're unable to attend that, or even that, if there is a survey on the City of Alachua's website regarding that, where we can also take your feedback there. And a bonus benefit of that is it's in the written record at that point. on hearing everybody's views on that. If you cannot make tomorrow night, or if you can and you want to put it on the survey. So there's all these opportunities for the public to speak up, and I want you guys to keep taking them because this stuff is very important, and we really need to take action on this. But we want to continue collecting that feedback and all these concerns. So when we're drafting policies and regulations, we're accounting for every single loophole with that stuff, and it really relies on public feedback. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So y'all don't support that at all, what she did, right? Y'all don't support that, or do you vouch for that as like representatives of like the Alachua County and stuff like
Mr.
that?
Mayor, I cannot comment on CAMAC's actions.
I'm
On
not
accepting
going to.
Israeli money.
Thank you.
I
Go
also,
ahead, Vice Mayor.
Mayor, I just want to add, Jacob is communicating, I think, for all of us that sit here, feel exactly the same thing you do. And I think it is important, and we love when you come and talk to us about anything when it concerns the city of Alachua and the well-being. I think he said it. I just want to echo, I agree with everything that you're saying and bringing to us when it comes to these things, especially data centers.
And Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to say also, because there's a few of us and a lot of you guys, we can't go around to each of you guys' house or homes or places. So it's very important for you to show up where we are to tell us how you feel. And like they said, there's surveys, there's a lot of things now where we're making it easier and possible for you guys to communicate how you feel. And we do apologize for people having to, make 1 and 2 and 3 trips and cancel massage appointments and different things like that. But we're all in this together, and let's stand together. Let's, talk about it, communicate, and let's protect the city of Alachua.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's calm down. But that is so true, and that's what we're here for. We better together. That is my motto. So if we come together and work together, we can get a lot of things done. All right. Is there anyone else before we move on? All right.
Hello, my name is Catherine Viola. I'm a Gainesville resident, and I came here about the data centers. I believe that the residents of Turkey Creek and Alachua should take precedence, but because this is something that would affect the entire county, I still want to speak up. In addition to all of the previous comments on water and electricity uses, I would like to point to a study released by Andrea Marinoni, Marinoni, of the University of Cambridge, which found that AI data centers create heat islands. The surrounding areas experience temperature increases of up to 16 degrees. The national website for our government that tracks our drought status has us in an extreme drought at this moment. It's irresponsible for AI data centers to even be a possibility within this county. And I would urge every commissioner within the county to work together to be proactive against the building of data centers. And I will be making the same comment to my Gainesville City commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, staff, attorney. My name is Tamara Robbins. So I want to get clear on the Senate Bill 180 update. Citrus County is going to impose a moratorium for 1 year on data centers. So if they are allowed to impose a moratorium, Senate Bill 180 includes Citrus County. I mean, we all know that there was hurricanes affected the entire state, so Senate Bill 180 would affect Citrus County as well. So according to what I read, first of all, it's not just that a hurricane comes by, it's that a federal disaster declaration has to be made for the counties. Okay, it's not just a hurricane. So Alachua County was a federal disaster county, and so many other ones were too. So then the 50-mile, 100-mile radius applies, but it says that it's from within 1 year of a hurricane making landfall, right? That those more restrictive or burdensome procedures cannot be adopted. So that's within 1 year of landfall, and also that a federal disaster has to be declared. So we are outside of that 1 year of Helene, which was the last one in 2024. Believe me, I know. And we all were a federal disaster. So in this bill also is retroactive to 2024. So my question, Mr. Mayor, is to get the attorney to clarify, are we currently or are we not under the restrictions of Hurricane Helene's federal disaster declaration of Alachua County and the 1 year out window of which we are prohibited from enforcing and adopting additional stricter standards? And if that's the case, Citrus County would not be looking at a moratorium on data centers for a year, which is the extent of they can adopt an ordinance for a moratorium for a year. So if it's allowed, and we are we are outside of that year from Helene emergency disaster, we should be able to adopt a moratorium too. And that's what I'd encourage this commission to do, is to adopt a moratorium on data centers. Honestly, I think it should be on all proposed development applications until the LDRs are reviewed, until the comp plan review is finished, but specifically on data centers, because, I mean, there is no specific proposal. And I appreciate this, Mr. Mayor, the city manager, making that clarification. But we all know it's a global threat, right? They're happening everywhere. There's a lot of data centers in Florida, and that Phoenix location is it's a brownfield now, and it was a Superfund site. So, but there's a lot of farmland. So, could you get that cleared up? Are we within that window, or are we not? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so very much.
Mr. Mayor, City Attorney, it's under section 28, the cited section, if you want to read that portion.
Happy to look at it more closely and also look at the Citrus County lawsuit.
Well, I can read this portion from that section. To the extent this is going through it, but to the extent that those terms are defined under statute 163.3164 Florida statutes before October 1st, 2027, and any such moratorium or restrictive or burdensome comprehensive plan amendment, land development, regulation, or procedure shall be null and void ab initio. The subsection applies retroactively to August 1st, 2024.
My name is Madeline Ryan. I live in Alachua. So I think that what you were just talking about, Mr. Fletcher, is my question. If when this July 1st, when this goes into effect, the SB 180, if there is a hurricane, and we all know that when we're in a terrible drought, the only thing that brings us out of the drought is a hurricane. So we probably get a hurricane this year. So if we do have a hurricane in July, will my question to you, Mr. Attorney, is will we be more susceptible to a data center after July 1st if we don't put in a moratorium against it? That's my questions. Thank you.
I will thank you so very much. And if I think that our attorney had addressed these problems, these questions earlier. So if you have no other question or comments on the subject, not on the same, but we got you. We done heard you. I heard which is your concern. I just don't want you to repeat the same question, so we can move on, because we can stay here all day talking about the same one issue. So we got you, and we're going to take it under consideration. All right. So is there any more comments, before I move on?
Mr. Mayor, Just to clarify, when we say we on that, I disagree with your statement, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. You got the right to disagree, but I have the right to conduct this meeting. So we'll move to the next agenda item, 3A.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I could do it from the dais, is that okay? Okay. So 3A, per Commission Rules and Procedures, Rule 32, Commission appoints to boards and committees. Members of the City Commission serve on various boards and committees. Appointments are reviewed and made each year as soon after the election is practical. If there is no nominee or volunteer for a vacancy, the chair will appoint a commissioner to serve. A list of the appointments has been disseminated to the City Commission in advance of the appropriate meeting so that the commissioners can determine his or her interest in serving on the various boards and committees. Other boards and committees not listed may be constituted and fulfilled at commission's desire. And so what we have before you is a list of all the committees and assigned as they've been assigned. And as we had the election, Commissioner Umas has fulfilled the vacant role, and that's where his name has been put. And so if you guys are good, we can move forward with that, or we can have discussion on the committee assignments.
Mr. Mayor, for the city manager, which email did you send that?
It was part of the agenda packet submission.
The one on Thursday.
On Thursday.
Okay, and so you were collecting our appointment nominations then, or sorry, I thought we were.
All nominations have been fulfilled as they were assigned in the previous role. The only change that happened was Commissioner Umas fulfilled the vacant role of the person he replaced when he was elected.
Okay,
and so if there's any desire to shift or have any movement.
Well, like I'm just trying to understand
board's
because I
open for discussion.
know the Alachua County League of Cities, that one, I believe that one was under me last year, but now it's under the mayor. So that's a swap. That wasn't an open position that got swapped.
What we took was the assignments from last year and we replaced Jackson Humans's name with the other appointments. And so there's a variance. We can go back and
Right.
look, but that's the actions we took on our end. Does that make sense?
Well, it would make sense if I wasn't the delegate to the Alachua County League of Cities last year. But
Okay,
now,
if there's a role that you want to fulfill,
well,
you
I'm
gotta
just
make a
trying to understand the
recommendation.
process here, because if we're just filling in empty slots on it, it doesn't add up. But other than that, for my other fellow commissioners, I would ask, do they have any concerns with the assignments?
I don't. I'm fine with what I have.
I do because I would like to have more discussion on it before I sign on to these to kind of learn what these roles are and responsibilities before I agree to this.
Mayor, I would also add if there's anything that they want to switch or take, I will definitely still keep the ones that I've been working diligently with. I will take anything that anybody does not want to have.
Yeah. Will we get provided communications with these committees, like the point of contact for them?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, once assigned, communication will be provided.
For, I guess, Mr. Mayor, for Commissioner Umas, how would you like to discuss this?
I probably would like to probably make a motion to move it to the next meeting so that we can have time to discuss it with the city. I mean, I can go with the city manager and go over these. That way I, fully understand each committee.
Yeah, I'd
Yes, I can make a motion that I will get with the city manager to go over the committees.
Mr. Mayor, just to help out Commissioner Umas, I don't think we have to make a motion on it.
Okay.
I think the best course of action is to reach out to the city manager, and what we'll do is we'll just let this item. I think we can table it or just let it pass. Mr. City Attorney, what would you recommend for this?
Table it.
To
Move
defer
to
it.
table.
Yeah, move to table it. Okay. Yeah, because I definitely, these committees, we definitely, speaking from experience, we don't want to put a new commissioner on that without, getting read in on like the lay of the land on these things. It's not we don't want sink or swim type of things happening here. So if that's going to make you comfortable, Commissioner, then I'll move to table this for the next June 8th meeting. I think it's June 8th. Is that correct, City Manager?
Yes. That's correct.
Okay.
Could you move it to a date uncertain, because that meeting is beginning to be very lengthy.
Any reason why?
We can have a lengthy meeting June 8th.
All right.
We have a
I guess
CRA
we'll just we can table it to. Well, we don't have to defer it to date uncertain. We can just table it. Right?
Because you do feel comfortable that you can get with the city manager. And
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So, and I think we have a CRA that day too.
Okay. Yeah. So for the question for the city attorney is, do we have to table with date certain, or can we table with date uncertain?
Table it generally.
Okay.
Sometimes we table for date certain because we have certain requirements that have been advertised.
Right. That's what I figured with like the quasis and some of those legislative ones. Okay. So what I'll do is I will table this item, but if it's not on the meeting after June 8th, I will then request that it is. How's that? Does that work with everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
It works with me.
It works with you? All right. All right. Everyone's sounding good on that? Okay. So I'll move to table this item.
A second.
Been moved. Yeah, we'll do all in favor.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Tamara Robbins. Well, first of all, I would really like, in this, out of transparency, that you go through and announce what all the committees are. I mean, you may not understand that we're sitting out here and you're all just talking about all these committees and you have not mentioned one except for the League of Cities. So there's a whole affordable housing, Alachua Chamber, County League of Cities, Citizens Advisory Task Force, Community Redevelopment Agency, Educational Task Force, Elected Officials Group for School Facility Planning, Florida League of Cities, Florida Municipal Power Association, North Florida Regional Planning Council, Opioid Task Force, Parks and Recreation, Senior Resources Advisory Board, Suwannee River Water Management District, and Youth Advisory Council. So that's a lot of committees that I would really like to see y'all be discussing what it does mean. I think Commissioner Umas is absolutely correct. And committee appointments don't just like roll over as the county manager appoints them. You all have to put a motion on the floor to accept the appointments. It's you that are serving on these committees. And on your agenda, every time you meet, there's an opportunity, which is in this agenda location, committee reports. You all never do committee reports. So I would like to say, if you're going to be appointed to these committees, especially things like the North Florida Regional Planning Council and things like that, where you go meet once a month, like come back and give a report. I mean, Commissioner Potts used to do that every time after he went to a Regional Planning Council meeting. Then the following commission meeting, he would give a brief report on what happened. That's where all the big, large-scale comp plan amendments and all that stuff go through the Regional Planning Council. So I'm just saying, like, some more open discussion on what these committees are, who's serving on them, so the public knows who to reach out to as the delegate of the elected official, and so that we all know, and that you all agree that you want to serve on it, and then schedule to get on the agenda to report back to the public what you're doing. That's why you're on these committees. It's not to just go and have something to stack in a resume with or something, which I know you all don't need to do that. But reporting back to the public is the only meaningful way that it matters that you're serving on these committees. So I'm going to ask that you take your appointments seriously. You discuss them in the open up here. And if you want to serve on it, or if you don't and somebody else does because you've been doing it for whatever, and then you report back to the public so we know what we're getting for our representation of you serving. Thank you.
Mayor, I want to add that every time I have a report or meet with my committee, I do say something at the end of every commission meeting, what was discussed and what happened on my committees to inform the public. I take these seriously as well, which is why as a new commissioner, it was very hard in the first year to figure out all of these things. So if there's some that want to come to me, I would be more than happy to take more delegation on them, and I will report on them and be part of the team.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, so I would say is I think we can, as long as it's still on that meeting after June 8th, we can go through with this. I I personally do not want to go and vote committee line by line on that. I think that will be quite a bit of night. But what I think we can do is we can have a discussion that night on the placements on here. And what I would love actually is if the city manager, as he's going through with Commissioner Umas, is we have a presentation to catch not just the commissioners up with what each of these committees do and their importance, but to the public as well. And so when we say what does the opioid task force does, right? We can obviously set, it does a lot. And so like it definitely deserves, the 15-minute special presentation, but I think a condensed version for that night would probably be more than that would be enough to everyone, understands what we're doing on these things and the importance of it. And when we talk about like the Swanee River Water Management District, what it means to be on there and what that type of stuff is. If that's something my fellow commissioners would be open to, is having the city manager, just go a high level overview of each of the committees, and then we can go through this list and say like whether or not we can make those changes to those appointments after we've gone through the entire list of just saying, hey, what do these committees do? Is that something we're open to?
Mr. Mayor, what do you think it would be better if we did like a workshop on this? That way we'll have the time. We can all be there. The public can be there. They can kind of hear a little bit what's happening. And then from that point, we can go back and revisit the appointments with a better understanding, all of us with a better understanding of what each appointment does.
You have any comments?
I mean, sorry, Mayor.
Go ahead.
I love the idea of the workshop, but I also feel like if the other idea of going through each thing, at least informing what each thing does versus a workshop. I mean, we've got a lot going on. I have no problem doing that, but I think if we sometime give a summary of each item, I think is what Mr. Fletcher was saying, and then go from there. If the city manager is willing to do something like that, and then if we feel after that we need more, then we could propose a workshop.
Go ahead, city manager.
Mr. Mayor, I serve at the pleasure of this board. So let me know which way you want to go.
I do love a workshop. But I think the workshops we need to be getting on right now are having to do with our LDRs and our comprehensive plans. Those are the workshops we need to be having. So I'll follow because it seems like Commissioner Ringerson, you're leaning a little bit towards, we can do this in a meeting as long as the city manager works with us as a commissioners just to answer any questions we have beforehand, and the city manager also presents an overview of these committees for the public. If we go with that, I do hope to see support for other workshops regarding things such as, dealing with the school board and with our LDRs and data centers and all the development we're dealing with. If we're open to that, then I'll concede and we can go with the table.
I'm definitely open to that.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm
I'm
okay
not,
with that.
I
All right.
definitely open to, especially the school board things and the other things that you mentioned. The other reason I mentioned also to switch there, when I first came aboard, like Ms. Robbins says, there were certain things that other commissioners on that I wanted to be part of because of what I am passionate about with the city of Alachua. So as we move forward, if there's something with Jackson or something with yourself or Ms. Shirley, I think we can entertain that. I think we just need, if we need to inform everybody, I think with our city manager giving us a little bit of a summary of each item, I think we
All
could
right.
move forward with that.
So for the city manager, do you have the consensus or do we need to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, staff will be prepared to provide a presentation summarizing each line item that allows you guys to assign and vote.
Okay.
And we
And
can move on.
remember, I'm not putting the date certain on this.
That's correct.
All right. So I really hope that we're going to hear about it. If it's not June 8th, it's what, June 22nd, right before our July 4th leave, where it's going to be in that, because I don't want these committee assignments. They are important. We need to get on them. So I don't want to delay them any further. It works with you? It works with everybody?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I think we just have to one last call for public comment, make sure no one's there, and then I'm ready to vote.
Yeah.
My name is Umesh Sharma, and this is regarding the item 3A. Is that right? No?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay. So I think I'm reading this agenda, and so is it only commissioners are appointed to this, whatever these committees are, or it is kind of last option, like nobody offers, so commissioners are appointed?
All right, I'll speak on this. No, so these committees are asking for legislative representation
Okay.
from the city, and then some of those, there are boards on here that are advisory boards where there are members of the public who are actually make up that board, and commissioners will sit on that board with them. Particularly the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, the Senior Resources Advisory Board, the Youth Advisory Council. I believe that one is another one that the city runs. Is there any other ones? Oh, the Education Task Force, that's just another city one. The CATF, the Citizen Advisory Task Force, and the CRAAB community. So those ones are city ones that are, when there's openings on those for the public. These ones are specifically for having commission representation on those internal committees.
Okay. Thank you. Means I'm educating myself. Thank you for helping with that. So I'm reading this agenda. Summary is there, and there are other points: financial impact, additional financial information, commission goals, but I don't see any information about it.
I think that's going to be for the city manager since they prep these agendas.
Okay, can you repeat your question?
I'm saying I'm reading this agenda, and pardon me if my question is dumb or something. It includes summary. It has another item: financial impact, additional financial information, commission goals, but it is empty. So it is just for the placeholder, or it is should have be having some information, or
Mr.
are
Mayor,
there
I'd be more than
impacts?
happy to get with the gentleman after this meeting to go through how agendas are constructed.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So, Mr. Mayor, I know one of the things that I would say this is one of our goals in the city of Alachua is quality of life. And I know it's not on there right now, but I would say that is definitely when we talk about these committees and our involvement with the region, that's definitely, I view as a quality of life goal that our presence achieves with this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll have our vote start with Commissioner Fletcher.
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ringenson.
Aye.
Mayor Welch. Aye. Ayes have it. So Move on to item 4.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you can I do it from the dais also?
Yes.
Thank you. The City Commission recognizes the importance of maintaining open communication and collaboration with the Alachua County School Board on matters of mutual interest affecting the community, including educational initiatives, school capacity, transportation, and future growth and planning. A joint meeting between the City Commission and the Alachua County School Board will provide an opportunity to discuss shared priorities and strengthen intergovernmental coordination and promote a cooperative planning effort that benefits the city residents and students. The recommended action is to direct the city manager to draft a letter to the Alachua County School Board requesting a joint meeting between the City Commission and the school board on a mutual agreeable date and time.
Is there a motion?
Let's have some discussion first, I would say.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is I think this is the right approach for trying to establish some good communication with the school board. I think this is also the opportunity to like just start putting it out into the air, like what we'd like to ensure the letter contains on what we want to talk about. Because I'm sure if we say we don't provide what we want to talk about, they're probably going to be like, well, what do they want to talk about, right? So I mean, these types of things. Things I want to talk about. I want to talk about really like the traffic impacts on the bay and how we're going to address that with hazardous walking areas. That's a big thing that I would like to address. Another big thing is Alachua Elementary and what their plan is for that, and how do we fit in this plan? Because I mentioned at the strategic meeting, and I've had conversations with I believe it's Dr. Patton. She's a doctor, I believe, right? About having like a regional community resource center. They're partnering with the county, partnering with the local food drive we have in our city, and other potential opportunities like that. That is a huge resource for our city and for the region, because now instead of driving all the way down to Gainesville, you know, you're driving to Alachua, and so there's a lot of benefits with that. So that's something I'd like to have, you know, up front, that I want to talk about that.
go ahead, Commissioner.
Oh no, I agree with that, and I think that starting to take more of a proactive approach and addressing things like this, so we don't hit blindsided again. With when it comes to education and closing of schools, now we can actually start being a part of the conversation ahead of time, as opposed to having to play catch up and being behind the 8 ball. So I totally agree with that, and looking forward to us coming up with a nice letter.
Thank you. Go ahead,
The,
Vice Mayor.
the only thing I'll add is, I mean, just thinking of the immediate response of the traffic, what I feel might happen is they're going to say Alachua Elementary's bell rings for the 3rd to 5th grade at a different time, and then the middle school is a different time, so it's not going to affect our traffic. But the flow of traffic is now going to go in a different direction with not a main turnaround or a direction on which going, because I think we have to have teeth or something more substantial than just the traffic part, Commissioner Fletcher, because I know that's my immediate was, yes, traffic's going to be a problem. However, the bells ring at different times, so the way the buses and everything ran in the city before was it went from Alachua to Irby, or Irby back to Alachua, and then to Mabane. So I'm not really sure just that alone. And then the parent pickup itself for Mabane doesn't even handle the current middle school, which is under capacity. So it's at 42%. So now we're going to put it at 75%.
Yeah,
let's say.
so let me clarify a little more on traffic. When I'm thinking about traffic, I'm thinking about the traffic that we already have, and then the younger children that are now going to be going there. If you look at how they have, like, if you're looking at, I believe it's 140th, I walked out there to do the routes between Mabane and walk the neighborhoods to see what, kids, we're dealing with. I think it's like third graders, 4th graders, 5th graders walking that. And so like, there's not a light to cross 140th right there. like a flashing like pedestrian light to warn, like what we have like in front of City Hall. There's not that stuff there. I know we got it over by Irby. We got one over there. I think we definitely need to be talking to the school board on saying like, okay, we know you don't have direct control over these things because there's county roads, right? And there's state parts to it. But how can we all work together on addressing that? I think is the biggest thing. And so definitely it's when I say traffic, I'm those kids. Like I was out there on a Saturday and there wasn't school, and right where the road diverges, they're just running right across that. Like there's no sidewalk, it's right there. And if you're those semis, when they're coming down, because it's a slope, when they're coming down off that curve, they're not braking until like they're almost by the Hathcock Center. Well, by the time they're
Adcock
actually
Center. Yeah.
right there, and so they're whipping right through that, and these trucks, the semis, they're huge. They're coming down from the Lake City area. So like that's when I say traffic, I mean like how are the traffic going to impact those kids and they're walking? And I know they're going to say hazardous walking studies and all that. I just want to make sure we have that. But it brought up another thing, and my understanding is that when you have a K-2 school, it's called a feeder school is my understanding. And so what happens is that school actually get their state grade from the school that it feeds into. So Mabane will determine the state grading for Irby now. That's my understanding. Commissioner Ringerson, are you more familiar with that?
I want to say you're right on that, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But it in the past, yes, because K-2 does not get a grade. That Alachua had the grade, and they would get the same grade.
Because I was originally discussing with Dr. Patton and some of the other staff when we were having the workshops is that I was originally thinking like they could do like a 4th through 8th there because they already planned 4th and 5th at Mabane, right? And then that the other K-3 would be a new facility. And so my thoughts were we can do Irby as the K-3, right? And they just get that added class. However, the pushback on that was that they would only be graded on 3rd grade. Okay. And so now if 3rd grade's over there, Irby's getting graded on Mabane as a whole. And so what I would like to see is I would like to talk with the school board on like saying like, okay, we've known Irby and Alachua has had over the past years various issues with state grades on their grade level, and that actually Mabane was actually doing better than Irby and Alachua. And so what I'd like to talk to them is like what programs or like what assistance besides, we talk about Hippie and we talk about Navigator, what else can we lobby for or talk with them about that gives whether it's like a magnet program or something else that gives us an edge and a desire for students that are zoned for this to come back to Mabane. That's some of the big things that I'd like to talk with them about is like what can we do.
One of the things I've been kind of tossing with and kind of researching is, and I don't know if it's possible to maybe have like a city-owned or city-ran charter school. That way, the kids can kind of stay here, and then we have a little bit more control over, what happens with them.
All right, thank you. Hold. Al is not addressing me.
I was going to, Mayor.
Just don't get on your mic since this got going.
I do
I want to
apologize, Mr.
conduct
Mayor.
order in this meeting.
I do apologize, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mayor. I do think we're having good dialogue in this particular thing. I think that I agree. I think that this is a bigger picture than the letter to the school. I do feel like birth to 5 is crucial, and we did talk about this in the strategic. I did not realize that the Head Start program at Irby was up to 12 classrooms. Those children, I'm still waiting for somebody to get me the exact answer of how many. I think getting the kids that are in our city to be able to go there is crucial. What I think has been happening, and it was happening for years, even when I ran my program, is that once that class, if I use, let's just say the closest school, if I just say now Meadowbrook, if Meadowbrook only has one Head Start program and there's families all around that area, they can go to Irby and take a spot from a child that's here in the city. So I think some of those things we probably would need to address in the letter of getting a full understanding of the zoning, because right now you have to be zoned to go to Irby indirectly to go to that school. But if you don't live in the city, you could come and take a spot from another child. And I think we need to focus on how do we get the kids that are here. I think the lady said just close to 1,000 children that live here in the city of Alachua under the age of 5 are not in any of our current schools here, where they could be attending the Head Start programs there and the VPK programs. And I think that's really important if we can get them here, right here, starting even at 3. I mean, I'm for birth, right? But 3, if we can get them in there at 3, exposure to language, communication, social, emotional, critical thinking, all of those things, and they're here and they're going to go into the Head Start program, to the VPK program, and start at Irby in kindergarten. That's 2 years of education that they would have to be in our kindergarten here at Irby, from Irby in the first grade, kindergarten first, second, and then Jacob, like you're saying, if they're going over at 3rd, now they're being tested, but we've got an opportunity here with that I think is crucial. And the other thing I would say, we have to put some kind of teeth in that transportation part, and I would love to recommend that they have to come and visit and walk with you to the school, or somebody goes with them, somebody that goes with them to see what we're talking about when it comes to traffic and where these kids are coming from. It's easy for them to say, it's so easy for them to say that the bells are gonna ring and we'll put an extra crosswalk. But I feel like we have to say the meeting, and they need to come and be with you and explore these schools, walk these schools with you. I don't know how we do that part, but I think that's the accountability, that we get them to answer where the letter, we've been doing this for years. I've been on the task force. Education is what I've been pushing for. But it's so easy to say, yeah, we'll come, and then they cancel. That's what's happened in the past since I've been a commissioner. Yep, well, we're going to come, and then they don't come.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Talking about charter schools, just don't want that to get dropped. I think we're a little premature at the moment to discuss that, because right now we're trying to. There's a lot that goes into starting a charter school, especially one that is ran by a city. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and right now, if we're dealing with more unfunded mandates, as well as potential issues with homestead costs, the ad valorums. I don't have a good financial picture on what just jumping into that burden. I'm open to learning more. I would say that conversation right now is a little premature, right at this moment. So in our letter to ask them, I also don't recommend putting that in the letter when talking to the school board.
Oh, no.
I would say the school board likes their schools, and and we won't go into that stuff, but that's just some stuff I would say. And for Commissioner Ringerson, I think there has been a change in the commission, but the biggest thing is we don't lose hope. We keep fighting for the kids, and I think you have done that, and so we're going to help you, and we're going to keep doing it.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just going to add one thank you. And the other thing with the Mabane and the scores is they have added more magnet programs to Mabane, which has helped a lot, which I know that's, another avenue that we have talked about for a long time. So I don't know if, Mr. City Manager, if you got a direction on what we're thinking for this letter, or do we need to have you kind of think what we're thinking here on grasping that, or do you feel good on that?
Mr. Mayor, let me take the first step. Let me draft a letter together, and I'll submit it for review. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
And just for our fellow commissioners, we're talking about schools, is what do we have to do to get a conversation going with the ETF, the education task force that we have? Because we talked a little bit about it briefly at the strategic, but I think we have to be more hands-on with them, not from a sense of what they're doing, but as a support structure for them to see that stuff going through. What do we have to do to have a dialogue or a report on like what's going on, or a conversation with them? Do we have to have like a joint meeting with the ETF, like a workshop? What do we got to do to get it rolling?
Mr. Mayor, I think I can take that and try to get with David Weisner and see what I can do to help with more with the input. the attendance and things like that, and their board changed and things are back, I think, good. So if you would like, could follow up with the commission myself and get with David personally and figure out what would be the best strategy. We've tried all different strategies, so maybe getting with him on some of the things that we've all just talked about with the strategic planning.
Has the commission met as a whole with the attending ETF?
It's only the commissioners that have been on the delegate that have shown.
Let's get everybody in the room together and have a candid conversation. That's what I would say. What do we have to do that? Do I have to ask for it on the agenda and have us make a vote for it? Okay. Now my question is this, is am I going to have to withdraw procedures, or does that fall underneath this topic, Mr. Mayor?
Ms. Mayor, in the past, Commissioner Fletcher has submitted agenda items. You can do the same way again. And
Okay,
we'll get
so
on
if
next
I
agenda.
submit this on June 8th, all right, or am I going to have to wait until the end of June for us to set up a meeting with our own subcommittee? Right. So I want to get the ball rolling on this because we was it a year for 2027 to start into that? We need to be on the ball on this with working with the school board and making sure our ETF is on the same page with us and we're on the same page with them to support them.
Mr. Mayor, I will say that I think they are on the same path. I feel they are in the exact same direction. I think that the people that we have utilized, and Herman Knopf and some of the others, I know that they want what's going to be best for the city. 100%. I mean, the board is former principals and everything else. I think that part I feel confident that they are. They're working with us, not against us. If that's what you're asking.
No. Mr. Mayor, what I'm saying here is that we seem to have hit some roadblocks that they're facing, and I want to have conversations with them and like actually understand like what they're facing and have it in a conversation format where it's not just me talking to each of these members individually and then coming back here and then connecting the dots between 10 different people or 11 different people. What I would like is everybody's in the same room, everyone's hearing the same exact thing, and we can game plan that together. That's what I'm trying to get done. So if I have to bring it as an agenda item, I'll do that. So
I think that'll be the best.
All right. That's all for me.
Mr. Mayor, can I just add one thing? I think that the other roadblocks have been, and it still is, some of the roadblocks is the constant change in the school board itself. So election is coming up again. So there's going to be that change. And I think that's some of the roadblocks, just so you know, for what we've gone through. It'd be, interim school board person, and it would be this, and it would be something else. I don't know if David wants to comment on any of this. Would be great to just kind of give a little bit quick input of where we've hit roadblocks, and I finally feel like we're moving in the right direction. If that's okay, Mayor.
Yes, you want to make a comment on this, David? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, commissioners, city manager, city attorney. Actually, the next ETF meeting is in 2 weeks, June 1st. So if you all wanted to, we could coordinate that into a joint meeting if that's the desire of the commission.
Well, so we can make a motion to turn that one in. All right, I just want to be clear because that's before June 8th. If we put this on the agenda, does that work? Work for you? All right.
Yes.
Then I'm. How do we just because I think we're like taking over their meeting. So I know they technically report up to us. So what do we need here for us to hijack their meeting?
It will be a busy meeting. We're actually voting on, well, it would be timely too, because we'll be voting on the ETF's new strategic plan. So it would be a good time for commission input at that point as well.
All right, David, what do you need from us?
I'm not sure procedurally how it would work. So it's a regularly scheduled ETF meeting. I don't know how the ins and outs would go for
Should we add a
making that.
discussion like before, like do something before the meeting? So we'll show up before the meeting, and then when that meeting hits, we can step off the dais and they can finish their work. Would something like that be appropriate?
Yeah,
Mr. Ringerson, you're
There's
on
a
the ETF,
yeah.
right? Is that something that would be appropriate? We have the joint. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, for Ringerson. If we go and say, okay, so 5 o'clock, we'll have a joint with them, joint meeting with them, and then at 6 o'clock, they can continue their actual meeting with the strategic plan and all that stuff. So we're not taking their time from that.
Mr. Mayor, I think so. As I mean, I don't know what direction to go with that either, other than
Well, is anyone saying no? Anyone against it? Okay. No? All right.
I think we all feel that this is very important. So
So, Mr. Mayor, I think you're the one who has to call meetings, unless I think was it 2 commissioners and there's a whole rules with that. Mr. City Manager, or Mr. City Attorney, how can we have a meeting 1 hour before the ETF meeting on June 1st? Joint meeting with them.
And point of clarification, the ETF's regular meeting's at 5, just FYI.
So your
Can we do it
meeting is
after?
at
We meet
5.
at 5. Potentially.
And we can talk about what they just approved on how it works. 6? Or after? 8?
Mr. Mayor, it's your calendar. It's your calendar.
Well,
I just want to talk to them.
y'all agree to you can make a motion. We can do it at 6.
Okay. So how about we have the mayor work with the city manager to get a time on June 1st. Would that work? City manager, you were nodding your head. Was that a yes? That works with you? If it's worded like that? Because I know you're the one
Everything
who has to juggle
went
the schedules.
well. If you don't mind, leave the June 1st open. If there's a conflict, if there's a scheduling on their behalf,
Okay.
I want to coordinate with their board. And
Okay.
so
That works with you? Yes. All right. So we're not tied to June 1st, right?
we
No one's
will
tied to June
we will
1st.
coordinate at times amicable for both boards.
Okay. Before June 8th. All right. We good with that? You good with that?
I'm good with it.
Good with
Yes.
that? All right.
yes.
All right. So I'm going to move that to direct. Oh, I don't know if we can direct the mayor. I don't think we can do that. But we.
Special meeting may be called by the mayor, also referred to as the presiding officer, the city manager, clerk, or by a majority vote of the city commission at a regular city commission.
All right. So, okay. So I think the words has to be like I move to call a joint meeting between the Education Task Force and the City of Alachua Commission that is scheduled by the city manager. Head's nodding yes. That's working. Well, I can, okay. Okay.
That way.
By the city manager before June 8th.
I'll second.
It's been moved to second, and now we have I guess we'll go to public comments on the motion. We can do I do a roll call.
0.
I'm gonna start with Commissioner Jackson.
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you guys for your guys' patience with us on scheduling meetings. Aye.
Vice Mayor Ringerson.
Aye.
Mayor Welch. Aye. So it's been voted in, and so it
Just for the record, it is a 4-0, and Miss Shirley's not here. I know we have to usually clarify that for them, so it's a 4-0.
All right. Thank you for the clarification. So We on item 5B, I believe.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution. It's number 26-07, a resolution of the City of Alachua, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 general fund budget for the receipt of an unanticipated revenue, increasing the general fund Alachua Police Department budget to appropriate revenues and expenses related to an online sting operation grant program award received from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass resolution 26-07 as read by title only.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney Robert Benetti, Finance Administrative Services Director. The Alachua Police Department has received this grant for online sting operations. And what this grant provides is for the purchase of laptops, tablets, cameras, software, and other related items necessary to conduct online sting operations. This grant is also known as an ICAC grant, Internet Crimes Against Children. So the focus is on protecting our kids. The amount of the grant is $66,946.49. It is a reimbursement grant, and as stipulated, a resolution and budget amendment are necessary to account for the revenues and expenditures of this grant funding. And with that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them. And by the way, they do a heck of a job.
Oh, yeah. Questions?
Yes. Do we have, because it looks like this, like it's a reimbursement, so that the program has finished.
It has not begun. It's got a June 30th with July submittal end date.
Okay. All right, because I was about to say
it was extended.
Okay.
It was given to us last year, very late, with less time than we have now by about a month and a half. And so they extended it. And this is actually money appropriated as a continuing appropriation by the legislature.
Yeah. No, what I wanted to see is our wins on this, because I came in thinking it was already done, and like we can say like, hey, look what we were able to do with that, because I really believe that when we make good wins as a city, like we need to talk about it, and protecting our kids of the city against predators and sex crimes against with them. When we're able to prevent that, that is a win. And I want to say, like, I want to be able to, shout that from the roof, like, that is not tolerated here. We are actively fighting against that. Look at our results. So when this does come around, or this program concludes, or whatever, I do hope Chief can come and tell us like what a bang up job he's doing, because I've spoken with a lot of the officers here, and they're great. And I just want to keep those wins being talked about, because this is important to let people know, like, hey, we're fighting this, like we're against this.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just be aware, like any investigation and prosecution, those credits don't come until later usually.
I know. I'm aware with the judicial
it's not
system.
immediate gratification, Mr. Mayor.
No.
On
This
their
is
part, maybe.
definitely investments, but when we secure that stuff, I want us to be able to say with confidence we're doing the right thing here. All right. Well, then I guess I'll make a motion. Okay. All right. So I'll move to adopt resolution 26-07. Mr. City Attorney, is there anything else I have to read for that?
As read by title only, that's fine.
So that's the recommended action. The title's a bit different. So I guess I'll move to adopt Resolution 26-07, amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 general fund budget for the receipt of unanticipated revenue, increasing the general fund Alachua Police Department budget to appropriate revenue and expenses related to an online sting operations grant program award received from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
A second.
It's been moved to second. Now, thank you. Could we have any public comments on the motion on the floor? If not, we'll take a roll call vote. I'll start with Commissioner Fletcher.
Aye.
Commissioner Jackson.
Aye.
Vice Mayor. I'm thinking.
It's okay, Mayor. Aye.
And on the absence of Miss Shirley Brown, Mayor Welch, I vote aye. So it's 4-1.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we'll move to item C.
Mr. Mayor, this is ordinance 26-08, an ordinance of the City of Alachua, Florida, extending the corporate limits of the City of Alachua, Florida to include certain lands lying contiguous to the existing corporate limits of the city. Tax postal numbers are 03909-000-000 and 03910-002-000, providing that all existing laws, ordinances, rules, and regulations shall apply in said area, providing that the property, land, inhabitants are subject to existing indebtedness and liable for taxation, providing for severability, providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance number 26-08 upon its reading by title only.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam
you.
Vice Chair, Commissioners, City Manager, and City Attorney. Parker Stevens, Planner for the City of Alachua. My resume is on file with the Office of the Deputy City Clerk. The item before you is application number PA26-0004, known as 14107 Northwest 142nd Avenue, Voluntary Annexation. This is a request by Alachua FWD LLC, applicant and property owner, for voluntary annexation of an approximately 24.26 acre subject property into the municipal limits of the City of Alachua, Florida. The subject properties are generally located at 14107 Northwest 142nd Avenue. Currently, the subject property has an Alachua County future land use designation of agricultural-rural and a zoning designation of agricultural. Here we have an overview of the subject property, shown in the black and white hatched border, with north being the top of the map. County Road 235 crosses the map at the west border. And for reference, the Shell gas station is located to the east of the property, and the Hal Brady baseball fields to the west. Here we have an overview of the proposed amended municipal boundary in orange. The existing boundary is gray with a red outline. Note that the proposed annexation will not create a new enclave, and will start the process for closing the existing enclave. Chapter 171.044 of the Florida Statutes establishes procedures for voluntary annexation. Notice was provided via certified mail to the Alachua County Board of County Commissioners on April 16, 2026, not fewer than 10 days prior to publishing or posting of the required public notice. Notice was subsequently published at least once a week for 2 consecutive weeks on April 30th, 2026 and May 7th, 2026 in a newspaper of general circulation as required by statute. Chapter 171.4044 of the Florida statute also establishes the standards for which areas to be annexed via voluntary annexation must be found compliant. Requirement 1 is that the area to be annexed must be contiguous to the existing municipal boundary on the subject property, as demonstrated, is contiguous to be is apologies. The subject property, as demonstrated, is found to be contiguous on 3 sides. Requirement 2 is that the area to be annexed must be reasonably compact. The subject property has been reviewed against the statutory definition for compactness in Chapter 171.031 and has been found to be reasonably compact. Finally, requirement 3 is that the area to be annexed will not create an enclave. As demonstrated by the maps shown in this presentation, this annexation will not result in the creation of an enclave. Staff recommends that the City Commission approve Ordinance 2608 upon first reading and schedule the second and final reading of Ordinance 2608 for June 8th, 2026. At this time, I am available to answer any questions regarding this application.
Would there be any questions?
Well, yeah. So this is the one that's over by Mabane, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So that's the one that they've already chopped down all the trees for. No, a different
no.
one. Oh. I'm assuming the public are the applicants. You represent? Come on up. Are you Mr. Martin? All right.
Well, I'm Dan Martin.
Thomas is your dad.
Yes.
All right.
Huh.
I do my homework.
But anyway, it's at the south end of Main Street. Basically, would be the beginning of that property.
Okay.
And it connects to State Road 235 and near the intersection where those 241 come together. It's been agriculture for years. The crazy thing is, though, all the property around it's in the city practically. Even we had where my mother used to live, my father used to live. That was already in the city. It was automatically put in the city. My sister and brother-in-law's house, which is right next to the property, theirs was converted into the city. And then you got on all sides of it as part of the city. For some reason, this was still left in the county. And we've been going through some just a while trying to get a couple strips that was in there cleared so we could have full title and everything.
Right.
And so basically we just wanted to get everything is attached to the other property, but we want to get all that connected so as we can, everything would be in the city of Alachua.
Yeah, enclaves aren't fun if you're living in them because it's like, okay, we got to follow these rules. There's different rules out here. How do you like service providers, interlocal agreements, all that stuff. And we can, for the public, we can see all the other little enclaves, spread out through that. And those are the red ones, right? Those.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me, for the record, can you state your name?
Yes, Dan Martin.
Thank you.
And so, I guess so we see that it definitely meets some of the definitions for that. That bottom one that's connected on your property, that's not your property.
That bottom one is actually belongs to the city of Alachua.
So the city of Alachua owns the bottom one that's not actually in the city?
That is correct. Currently, staff is working on finding the legal description for that parcel to bring it into the city. The original plan was to bring that as in one whole application, but we wanted to get Mr. Martin's application through first.
Do we know if that's the only piece of the city of Alachua that's not in the city of Alachua, or we're identifying them at this moment? All right, okay, good. I really think any property the city of Alachua owns should be in the city of Alachua. Okay, so my question for you, Mr. Martin, is why do you want to be in the city of Alachua?
Well, obviously, I'm born and raised here in that house, and I mean, it's sort of complicated. Like even if we wanted to do something with a property to have part of it in the county and part of it in the city, it's very complicated. At some point we probably are going to want to do something with that. As far as I don't know, at some point I don't know what it would become. Residential is what it would revert to if we taken out of our agriculture, is what we've been told. And so anyway, those are things that we just looked at. We've been, like I say, waiting. There were 2 little strips in there, like I said, that kept us from being able to have clear title to all that property because my dad had bought land 2 or 3 different times. And so anyway, we've been working on this, trying to get this done. We probably should have done it years ago. Matter of fact, the city, while my dad was living, had sent a letter wanting that property to be converted into the city. And for some reason, he didn't do anything with it then. And so we wish he had of it. It would have been a lot simpler.
All right, Mr. Martin. So I can't hold you to this, right? Because you can say whatever you want here, and we can't really do anything about it after we vote. But can you promise me 2 things? 1, that it won't be a data center. 2, that it won't be a Walmart. Can you
I
adhere
can
to that?
promise you on both of those items.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And we really would prefer having somebody local to be able to come in there. Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, partner.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna.
You want me
I
to?
call for a motion.
Again, I can't hold you to this, but I'm really hoping as good neighbors. I'll move that this commission adopt ordinance 26-08 upon first reading and schedule the second and final reading of ordinance 26-08 for June 8th, 2026.
I'll second.
It's been moved to second, and we have public comments on the motion. Is there any public comments on the motion? If not, we'll take a vote. I'll start with Commissioner Jackson,
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher,
All right, counting on you, Mr. Martin. Aye.
Vice Mayor Ringson,
Aye.
and in the absence of Ms. Shirley Brown or Mayor Welch, aye. So now the ayes have it. We'll move on to.
Thank you, City Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I do want to point out this is Mr. Parker's first time presenting before the commission, and I just want to say he did a wonderful job. So thank you, Mr. Parker.
Agree.
Anyway, we have time to congratulate him, to give him whatever. So we'll move on to comments from the city manager and the city attorney. I think that's what
We got to do, Mayor, we got to do comments from citizens.
I asked for comments from the citizen. They didn't want his comment.
No, yeah, that was for Parker's presentation, but this one here would be just to,
Okay.
just if there's any other public comment.
Is there any comments from the citizen on the subject, not on the agenda? Thank you for the correction.
Can I give these to the manager?
Yes, please.
Good evening, Commission. Brian Bisher. I'm giving you some data, but it's not a data center. I just want to be really clear about that. One of the things that I was wanting to bring to your attention is related to the Alachua 2050 workshop that'll be tomorrow. And there's going to be a graph that was presented to this commission earlier that I've given to you in the first page. And in that first page, there's a red line, which the city is designated as high, a yellow line, which the city is designated as medium, and a green line that they've designated as low. And rather than go through all the math, which will take me longer than the 3 minutes that I have, I would just like to point out that in the citations of the 6 different citations they listed for the sources to come up with these numbers, in review of those citations, there was nothing really that represents the projections for the red line. The red line is very interesting to me because it mirrors what happens between 2000 and 2010. And I've drawn in a dashed line there to show you what I mean by that is that in order to meet the top of that curve in 2050, you would be at the fastest growing portion that you've had in the last 25 years. And that fastest growing portion was actually artificially increased because of the mortgage situation that we had there with negative mortgages. And we know that real estate bubble burst. And so what has to happen is that in order to achieve that red line or even to have it be valid, is the growth has to be 2.6 times the fastest it ever was. So this red line is not reality. It's not something that should be even considered in your designation. In fact, the trend line is identified there, and the blue dashed line as the trend line is more appropriate. And so that should be the median number that you're considering when you're going through your 2050 program. Why is this important? Well, the gray line that you see that goes straight across there, that represents all of the developments that you currently have in the pipeline. Okay, these are not just the new developments that are coming up. These are the ones that exist in the pipeline. And you can see that you have enough inventory until 2050 already in the pipeline. Okay, so when you're thinking about what your growth is and what your comprehensive plan goals are and what your LDR goals are, you have to consider what the numbers are in respect to the real trends, not just kind of a pie in the sky, kind of a wild guess. But that. The second page, just real quickly, shows you efficient land use. And I just want to point out that you can look at the different types of land use in terms of the densities below. The red part, anything under the red part, is generally subsidized. I believe the city subsidizes through the electric company. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it any other comment?
Good evening. My name is Umesh Sharma, and thank you, Commissioner Fletcher, for getting the Wi-Fi on agenda. So my question is, can traffic and trucks can be on the agenda as well? And thank you, Commissioner Ringerson, for pointing out like education is near to you, and it is also for me, for my children. And so at least for the I'm hearing like a lot of collaboration with the Alachua County School Board. So can these trucks be prohibited during the school times in the city roads?
Just to help, typically it's not a back and forth conversation. So you can
Okay.
ask the questions, and
Okay.
then if it's something that they can get with you
address
after.
it after it. Okay,
Yep,
thank
yep.
you so much. So yes, so and
Mr. Mayor, can you get it? I think it was about like 30, 32, 33. Get about like 35 seconds back on that.
I think we
okay.
can.
Yeah, we
Get his time back.
Yeah.
This
Thank you.
allows.
So yes, if possible, can this Commissioner Fletcher, Commissioner Ingerson, Commissioner Yumas, Mayor Welch, if you can please include traffic and wild trucks running around on agenda or radar, or if there is any, please like help me where it is, and I can kind of follow through that. And so that is my, because the intent is means the reason I'm asking is means this trucks, so many density of the trucks, like it feels me like this is an industrial town. Means I can appreciate them, like if there's some industrial park is there or something is there, means certainly we need industries as well, development as well, but accordingly I don't know what road planning goes. So I will also go through the details of whatever the 2050 vision agenda is going on. And so and my ask is, was there some sort of like 2026 or 2025 agenda back in the year 2000? So I would like to kind of, again, means my question was like, do we have ground 2026 where we are in comparison to whatever metrics we have. So, and on that basis, we are kind of projecting ourselves at 2050, or we are having a disparity gap. So I will also go through it, but these are some of my concerns which are coming because a lot of changes are happening in the city. And as other people also mentioned, we moved here because of a small town appeal. And we have lived in big cities, and certainly traffic is a nightmare. And it's a huge means bottleneck and waste of time and everything. So I also, if there are any audits of the cities, means I would like to see them as well. Maybe there are. Maybe if there is not, means probably I would like to know, do they happen, or if they don't happen, can they happen, or something like that. Basically, again, ground 2026 where we are. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jackson Kelly Harris Pepper. I'm not a resident of Alachua, but I'm a resident of the county. I live in Gainesville. Um, I won't speak too much tonight because I feel like a lot was said earlier in the first round of public comments, but obviously I'm opposed to the AI data center. I find it to be like an insult to people like me that choose a career in wildlife conservation. I'm a student at UF. I'm a wildlife ecology major. But I just wanted to like ask and get like clarification because to my understanding, this meeting was meant to be like a joint meeting between the city commission and the county commission. When is the next opportunity to like speak on the data center issue? When would be an appropriate time to return and give comment on it? As I understand, you said, city manager, it's not under your guys's like jurisdiction because it's not it's out of Alachua city limits, correct? It's in the county. So while I understand that you guys don't have any like direct power over it, I hope there can be like cooperation between you guys and the county. I hope that all people in front of me are opposed to the data center. So when are we able to actually come and do? Is there any sort of clear answer on that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So when it comes to rescheduling the joint county meeting, we'll be working with the county to get that coordinated on our schedule. So there's no determined date for that. And so as many did do today, voicing your concerns are being heard here, but also would encourage the county. And so I'm not being dismissive when I said, hey, it's not in our city limits. I'm trying to be informative. And so you're speaking here, and every single commissioner here was nodding their head, understanding your concerns. I'm making sure you speak exactly to the parties who have the immediate, authority to do so. And so the county would be the best venue to present these concerns, given the parcels that have been addressed for today. And our plan is to work with the county because it's a holistic approach, not just the city and not just the county.
Do you have any idea when like the information would be available for a meeting that's rescheduled?
Mr. Mayor, I'll reach out to the gentleman right after this meeting, and him and I can coordinate. Thank you.
Is it sufficient for you?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
I'll save it for comments.
All right. Thank you. Now we'll move to comments from the city manager and city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a wonderful time last week when we did our strategic initiatives for the city of Alachua. It was amazing to see the vision that you guys presented, and I look forward to working towards that vision with our staff. As we saw with Parker Stevens today, we have wonderful staff doing good work, and we look forward to all the challenges up ahead. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So a couple things. All right. just for the public, I did get an email, and I think all the commissioners did, coming from Commissioner Prizia. I think there was some misunderstanding in there on who owns the property in that email. But the first part of it is, I'm going to read this first portion verbatim. There have been no approvals for data centers in our community. On the contrary, we are working on language to restrict and prohibit these resource-intensive and extractive facilities in Alachua County. Okay, and that came from Commissioner Prizia. And so when we talk about this, and this is why it gets confusing, it's who owns this property, who owns that property. But I think the bigger issue is that no one right now has any rules on the books on how to deal with this. And so that's the first thing. We don't have rules. And the way we can get rules, right, as we just heard earlier today, is we're kind of tied. Our hands are kind of tied because of Senate Bill 180 on how we can address this. Because if that bill wasn't there, I'd be like, all right, guys, we're having a workshop. We're getting these rules right now. But our hands are tied. So what we have to do, right, is we have to make sure that we've studied the rules. We have rules and laws that we would like in place, have them ready so when we do get that green light, we can go ahead and start going through the legislative process of a municipality on getting that into the book, so that when there is another hurricane at that time and they're like, all right, well, we can't make anything more restrictive, we have that stuff on the books. And so the whole issue is there's nothing on the books. It's hard to get stuff on the books right now, but we should be trying to have that stuff prepared. We need to be prepared for these things. Just like how you prepare for hurricanes, we need to have our code prepared for the lack of one. So that's some of the big things there. And yeah, I would say that the postponement of this joint meeting was a little confusing, and I believe it came on that Thursday. So it was also a little bit of surprise on me, but I would like to thank for the city manager of getting to me on that. But my understanding of that was that there was some commissioners who were not going to be able to make it. But the fact that we were talking about data centers, they wanted to be there for these conversations because that property may be in Alachua County, but it's right on our city's edge. It's going to affect, our neighbor, like we're the neighbors on here, right? So we're going to be affected. And then going back, and if we don't have these, okay, the county may be able to solve it, but what does that stop from coming to a different property? We just annexed a property here. What's stopping it from the city of Alachua from having it on that parcel or a different parcel in our cities? And so we need our own rules on the book as well on how we want to handle these things as a city. So there's a lot of different parts to do it, but the number one thing, and a lot of people, I know a lot of people went home. Thank you for those who have sat through with this, is that continue the public engagement. I cannot stress that enough. I know, showing up for every meeting, you can't always do that, but it means something. It's important, and I hear you, and I'm going to keep fighting for the residents of this wonderful city. And so, just to conclude that, because I know someone else might also say it tomorrow, comprehensive plan discussion, like public workshop. Those are the things on how we can, handle these data centers. It's in Bill 484. That is a great time to show up and talk about that. And then the public survey, which I believe it closes out on May 28th, Mr. City Manager, and a business May 28th.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
All right. So if you can't make it there, definitely fill out those surveys. And if you do make it, still fill out the survey, because this stuff is super important that we address this now instead of trying to deal with it later. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say, just echoing, what he's saying, it's very, very, very important, to stay engaged. We don't know unless you tell us. Some things we can guess, but when you show up and you talk and you tell us, we hear you. And I need everybody to know that and understand that we up here for you guys, and we're going to continue to fight with you guys and fight for you guys every step of the way. We know, again, the biggest thing, like you talk about with the data centers, there's a lot of unknowns. That's the biggest piece. There's a lot of unknowns. This is uncharted territory. And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can, our due diligence, to make sure that we go, whatever happens, our eyes are wide open and we're not blindsided and we're not caught, like I said, behind the eight ball, making sure that we're doing everything we can to protect the environment, the citizens, and our water supply. These are crucial things, and some things you can't get back. Once it's gone, it's done. It's a wrap. And again, we got to look at now, but also the future, because some of us may not be here in 10 years or 20 years, or even when we talk about 2050, but making sure that our children and our children's children, will have a place to call home. They will understand what we meant when we talked about the good life community. These things are going to be crucial. And what we do today is going to set the stage for what happens tomorrow. And again, the biggest thing is get yourselves educated, continue to do what you're doing, do your homework, do your research, bring it to the table. Let's have discussions about it. Show up at the meetings, show up at the workshops, do the survey, all these type of things. It all adds up to doing everything we can, standing together, fighting together for the city of Alachua. And I want to thank everybody that showed up tonight, everybody for what you said tonight, all the staff, and everybody here on the diocese for, everybody being cordial and working together and listening to each other. It's very important. Communication is going to be the ultimate key in making sure that we continue to be the good life community. And again, I want to thank everybody and appreciate everybody that came out tonight and for everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
I'm going to echo all of that. I just going to ask one quick clarifying question for the city manager for the joint meeting, because Jacob just made me refresh something. The meeting that we had that was scheduled for tonight was on the calendar. How many months? When I know we brought it up every time that this was the date.
So that it was officially scheduled in November.
Okay. All right. I just for some reason I felt like it was longer than that, but okay. So from November, we knew that we were going to have this meeting together, and then it was not us; it was somebody on their end that was not able to attend.
That's correct.
Okay.
Commissioner, Vice Mayor, you're correct. I think back in June, July, the date was scheduled, discussed with administration. It was officially set in that time period.
Okay. So just to help, it does take a long time to get those things going, but we typically have those once a year, and hopefully we can get that again a little bit faster. Again, echoing all the comments as far as the data centers, data centers. I mentioned this a couple months ago. My son brought that to my attention because I am not a tech person. He's young, like these young gentlemen that are here today. The chat GPD, whatever that is, okay? Every time you do that, he tells me I'm wasting one bottle of water. I don't even know how to do it, so I don't do it. So I started to research a little bit myself. Somebody brought up about the lady brought up about the ground and the temperatures is anywhere from like 16 degrees to like 20 degrees. It's all over the board. I think we're all on the same page as that, which is very exciting. So I just wanted to just add that as well. Reminder that May is Mental Health Month. We keep talking about that. I, encourage again, if you ask a question, if somebody's okay, to please pause and listen and do that. Do not just start talking. Look and pay attention to your friends, your family members, everybody like that. It's really, really important. It's important to me. So again, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. The meeting that we've talked about for tomorrow, there's also a planning meeting that we received also, I believe, on Thursday here at City Hall from 1 to 5. I also encourage all of us to be part of that and try to attend that meeting as well. Chief, continue to keep us safe. A Memorial Day is around the corner, which is next week, is a week from today, which then also leads to school is out, which also leads to traffic and also children out everywhere. So just to be prepared for things for them to do in the community and if I were with, obviously everybody knows kids are my passion, children are my passion. I said it today. If I could do anything over with raising my kids, I still believe reading to them 20 minutes a day is crucial if you don't have resources to get them to school. The other thing I would do as a parent, I would never give my kid technology again. They would not have a phone. They would not have anything until they were probably in high school, and maybe even now I would say no to that. Um, that's my 2 cents on parenting there. But I say that because I had my grandkids this weekend, went camping at the springs. I am a outdoor lover myself. The springs are low. I saw it. I floated. I kayaked. I did it all, but there was no technology. My oldest daughter came here for that, and I'm going to say his name wrong, but Morgan Wallen or Morgan Whalen had a concert here for 2 days, brought so many people to this area, which I think is fantastic. I think this Gainesville should do that more. I think it's great. Sounded like it was amazing. And, she said, well, here, I'm going to leave the tablet. We're not doing none of that. We can turn on the TV at the end of the night for them to go to bed, but we spent the 2 days outside, all outside, running around, talking about things, learning things, listening to things, and I think we got to do more of that. So with that said, Mayor, I am done. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to commend you all that came to the meeting. I think we had a great meeting. I hope that y'all got some clarity on what y'all been asking. Appreciate y'all. Just making this meeting great. I did great, and I thank you for it. I thank all our staffs, and I thank everyone, and of course our board, the commissioners, our city manager, our city attorney, and like our new elect uh, commissioner said, it's very important that you voice your concerns. It's very important, and I guarantee you, you didn't heard them. They'll work on it. I guarantee you, they'll put it to work. So, on that note, y'all have a safe way home, and be safe. And now I'm going to
Before I say motion to adjourn, I'm just going to add one thing. Okay, Mayor? Is
go
that
ahead.
okay? One of the things that we all, things happen for years and over, and I'm just going to use Jenny Springs as an example. I've camped there all my life, and it has changed dramatically, but it's on the turn to change back to the direction of family and environment. The rules there are it's the last 3 years from this time that I just went. I used to go a lot, but I will say it takes sometimes experiences for us to see things. But for that, I think the direction that some of those parks and things are going to also move in the right direction, which is I think what we are all trying to do. That there are things that we need to refocus on some of our history to figure out how to move forward in the present. So, with that, Mayor, a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved to second. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.